The good life, full of fun, seems to be the idea.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Big day today. Always an exciting day in Joe's kitchen, isn't it? Today what we're gonna make is a Goombah burger. How you doing? This is kind of like a New York burger, if you will. The word Goombah, said in the kind way amongst Italians, is kind of somebody that's your compadre, somebody that's your friend, somebody that's often related to being in the mob, if you will. So if you're making this burger, you're obviously making it for somebody that's in the mob. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but in any case, we're gonna make a Goombah burger. It's gonna be absolutely delicious, and it's basically a twist on an American hamburger, but we're gonna Italianize it a little bit, all right? So moving forward, we've got what? We got ciabatta bread, right? So we're gonna cut that in fours. I've got 3 pounds of burger. We've got 1 cup of Parmesan Romano cheese. I did a 50-50 mix on that. And then with our burger, with our hamburger, which is 80-20, if you will, 80-20 on the fat meat content or protein content, I've got 3 eggs. So traditionally you're gonna use 1 egg per pound of burger, just to give you a heads up, okay? We're gonna use a couple of cups of arugula. We're gonna use some freshly cut mozzarella, and then we've got some aioli sauce. So what I did here is I made some aioli, and then I put basically a tomato gravy, if you will, your tomato sauce. Something that we made for some spaghetti, and then I put 50-50. So I've got the aioli with 50% of marinara, okay? And then we're gonna use obviously salt, pepper, olive oil. Oh my God, did you guys know that we have our own version of olive oil? Selfless plug, Vito and Joe's olive oil. So listen, if you guys are looking for a great quality, estate brand, phenomenally tasting olive oil, you can click right on our Facebook or on our link, Cooking Italian with Joe, and you can jump right on. Don't forget, guys, if you love our recipes, we certainly ask for your support. Don't hesitate to subscribe to our channels, not only for our existing videos, but any of the new videos that we got coming out with great recipes. So after my plug here, we're gonna move forward. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this in quarters, and then I'm gonna show you, after you toast it, we've got 1 large clove of garlic. So what you wanna do is you wanna toast the bread, and then you wanna rub it with garlic. And as such, you're gonna give it that nice, really fresh garlic taste upon that crispy edge of the bread. And then we're gonna obviously make the burgers after we mix the egg and the cheese to the meat. And then we're gonna grill those burgers. We're gonna put it on the toasted ciabatta bread. And then we're gonna heat it up with some mozzarella. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. All right, so let's get started. So that being said, let me move forward. I'm gonna cut the ciabatta in 4s. Now in this case, I'm cutting it in 4s. You know, some depending on where you get the bread and how you get the bread and so forth. And this is like, yo, how you doing? And if we get a knock on the door and an envelope and cash, I don't know nothing, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut these in half. So nice and easy, a lot of fun. It's a gorgeous day here. We're out in Casanova, New York. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. So after we finish this, we're gonna go out on the boat, have a beautiful day, get some sun. All right, so we're gonna cut these in 4, and then like I said, we're gonna just drizzle them with olive oil and then toast it. We're gonna hit them with salt and pepper and toast it. And then after they come out, you're gonna rub it with fresh garlic. Best way to do it. You just get such a beautiful flavor with the garlic, okay? So there's our bread. So I'm gonna open these up. And so you're not making a puzzle, try to keep them together because every piece is going to be a little different, okay? So we're just going to drizzle them with a little olive oil, all right? Nice and easy. And this is just the best way to do it. I've got the grill going in back. I've got a hot plate, pan. You can use a cast iron. You can use your outside grill if you want. I didn't use an outside grill in today's demo because I thought, you know, you're not always going to make these Goombah burgers, if you will, in the middle of summer. And just to show you how to make them inside. A lot of your cooking will be inside, obviously. So there you go. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, right? So there's our olive oil, right? And then what I want to do is on the bread, I want to season the bread a little bit, right? So we're going to take a little bit of salt, just a touch, and we're going to sprinkle the bread with salt. And then what we're going to do is you want to hit it with some pepper, all right? Now this will cook quick on that grill that I got going behind me here. So I'm gonna get this toasting. And real easy, like I said, try to keep everything together so you're not trying to piece one piece of bread with another, okay? So I'm gonna bring it right in back. This thing's hot. And I like this grill because it's got that pattern on it. You know, you can pick this up at a local store. They're around 10 bucks, 15 bucks. And I'm gonna do both sides, but I really wanna toast that one side. The key here is you do not wanna leave the bread unattended because it'll burn, and there goes your burger. And I'll tell you, one of the keys to a phenomenal burger is your bread. You gotta have some great bread. So these are already toasted. See how they already got those grill marks on them? So I'm not gonna let these stay long at all. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Now the back side won't have the oil on it, so it'll heat up more than it will grill, if you will. So I'm gonna let this toast. I'll show you exactly what this looks like in a minute, and then we're gonna start working on that meat, all right? I'll tune back with you guys in a moment. All right, so here we go. So we got our last piece on there. I just wanna show you, these are nice and hot. See how nice and crispy they are with the marks on them? So they're nice and hot. So I'm gonna let them cool just for a few minutes, and then once they're cool enough to handle, I'm gonna rub them in that raw garlic over the top, and then we'll put that burger together, we'll put the burger right on, make a sandwich out of it. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. So I'm gonna let those set. We're gonna keep this grill nice and hot. We're gonna come right over here, start working on the burgers, all right? I'll talk to you guys in a minute. All right, guys, there we go. We got 3 pounds of meat. I'm gonna set that right off to the side. We're gonna take our 1 cup, so again, about 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan Romano per pound of meat. So I'm going to pop that right in there. And now we want to just get those eggs going, okay? So let me pull this over, and then I've got my 3 eggs. So always crack your egg over something clear. That way if you get any shell in there, you can take a look at it and see it. You know, you crack them over a dish, and sometimes you don't even know that you get the shell in there. You know, so there you go. There's my 3 eggs. I'm going to throw those in my waste in my sink. And then one of my other tips is I always like to fully mix the egg before I mix it into anything else. That way, you know, you just incorporate the yolk obviously with the white before you mix it in the meat. The egg is going to give it a little bit different texture. It's going to certainly add a lot of flavor to it, and it just gives it that richness that you have in meat a lot of times with a lot of Italian meat dishes. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour that right into my meat, okay? We're going to make a mess here in a minute. Now I'm going to hit it with some pepper. You know, 1/8 of a teaspoon to a 1/2 a teaspoon of freshly ground pepper. Then we're going to hit it with some salt. Now I always use the gray sea salt. You're going to use about a tablespoon of salt, just to really season that meat. It's going to give it just a great flavor. And then we're going to hit it with some olive oil, probably about 1/4 cup of olive oil. And then again, olive oil is going to give it a flavor, a depth, a richness to the meat. And then it's mess time. Then what you're going to do, just like you're making a meatball or a meatloaf, you're just going to take that hand in here. This totally reminds me of my grandmother. She had this big stainless steel bowl. She'd always have her hand in there mixing something. So now we're going to mix that meat and cheese. And I'll tell you what's great about the cheese. It adds a salt to it. It's going to get a little crispy on the outside where the cheese is on the outside of the meat, which is really good. Oh, that's great. And again, I used about 3 pounds of meat here, so just to give you a heads up on proportions. And depending on the size of your burger, you know, a lot of the meat nowadays is an H, so it's got a lot higher water content to it. So what you'll see a lot of times is you get a lot of moisture off the meat when you cook it. My father and I were just talking about that. You know, the meats that he used to get down the restaurant, everything was aged, so the meat was tender and it had a lot more flavor. And when you buy the meat now with all that extra moisture in there, you know, they do it primarily because of financial. So you're basically buying a lot of water when you buy the meat. All right, so there's our hamburger, right, seasons and so forth. So then I'm going to take essentially a handful of meat, okay? and make a ball out of it. Get it nice and flat. Ooh, isn't that nice? There you go. And there's one burger, right? So pop that off to the side again. You're gonna get another handful, make a ball out of it, right? So some people use an equal measure, some people use a scale, and I think that's a great idea, but you know, the more you do it, I've been doing this for years down at my dad's restaurant, you know, making burgers for everybody. So again, you're gonna make another ball, you get a good feel of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and make some burgers here, and then we're gonna grill them, and then we're gonna rub that bread with garlic. I'll show you how to put this together. We're gonna take a trip to Brooklyn, and all you guys are gonna be my Goombahs today. How you doing? Tune back with you guys in a minute. All right, guys, here we go. So we've got some burgers. Now they're gonna look a little bit bigger right now. There's a lot of moisture in there, so you're gonna see them come way down here in a minute, all right? So I'm gonna put these on the grill. This thing is hot, so she's gonna go. And sorry about our sound, but we got the fan going here, so I'm gonna spread these out. Look at that. Oh man, you can smell of the meat, you can smell the olive oil, the egg. So reminds me of my grandmother. My grandmother would often add egg to almost any kind of meat dish. So watch how much these come down now. You're going to see a lot of moisture come out of these. And then depending on, you know, ideally who you're serving and what they want. So let me wash my hands really quick, and I want to show you how to prep that bread, all right? I'll be right back with you in a minute. All right, guys, now while this is going, again, I'm going to talk over the fan. What I did is I took a large clove of garlic, okay, and I just cut it in half. So you got that raw flavor. Now this is still kind of warm because it's next to the heat here, but I'm going to rub the garlic on the bread. And what that's going to do is it's going to give it that nice, fresh garlic flavor. And you'll see it, it'll just wear the, almost like sandpaper, you're going to wear the garlic off this little clove, okay? So that might be a little too much. So my clove broke a little bit here, but you don't want to disrupt too much of those nice grill marks, and you want to keep all that nice brown, caramelized sugar, which is really what's browning on your bread. And then just nice, hit it with some garlic. So every bite you get with the bread, you're going to get a nice back drop of garlic. Almost like a really nice big flavored crouton, if you will, is what that'll be. So my garlic's falling apart here a little bit, but this is the best way to do it. If you make a paste, you tend to put a little too much on, so I always like to rub the bread. And there's a little bit after work in here, but it's worth it, trust me. So let me finish this up. These will be all toasted. I'll flip that meat here in a minute. I'll tune right back with you guys. All right, guys, I've got all the bread rubbed with garlic, so that's nice and hot and crispy, and it's going to be perfect for setting the burgers on. We certainly do not want to put any type of sauce or anything on the bread because we don't want to lose that crisp. So as soon as you put anything moist or wet on the bread, it's going to lose that crisp. So just leave it, let it get nice and warm, or stay nice and warm. And then I'm going to flip these right now while we're talking. All right? And these should be perfect. So I'm going to, look at that. See how beautiful that is? And what's really happening is, that, believe it or not, the meat has a sugar in it. So see how that's caramelizing the sugar, right? And the only issue you got to worry about here is, you know, the traditional grease burner. So just watch your grease. And beautiful. So I'm going to flip all these guys. They look great, right? I got a hungry family here waiting, ready to have some Goombah burgers. How you doing? And I'll tune right back. Look at how beautiful that is. See how nice and crispy? They got those beautiful marks. So again, aesthetically, it looks beautiful. And it just tastes better. Food looks good, it's going to taste better. It's all seasoned up, and oh my God, it's delicious. Look at that, huh? Beautiful. I'll tune right back with you guys in a minute. All right, guys, so I flipped them. Look how perfect they are. So we're going right for that medium temp, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some chunks of mozzarella right on the top. Now, normally I'd put 3 pieces. And now they're relatively thinly sliced, right? I do have my camera person who's a little bit of, in Italiano we call piaga, so she only wants a little bit of cheese, okay? So there's gonna be one of these with a little less cheese. So I'm gonna put one piece on for Miss Picky, okay? And then I'm gonna just do a nice little spread. Oh, look at that, is that beautiful? Right, isn't that perfect? Now I want the cheese to melt, I want it to be gooey. And in this case, now you can use a lid if you're out on the grill, you can certainly close the top. I always like to use a lid, and then I'm just gonna use a little foil just to keep that heat in there, is all I'm gonna do. Just gently, just to kind of hold that heat in. And I'm gonna let that warm up, and I'll tune right back with you guys in a minute. All right, guys, you ready? I'm gonna pull this off. Woo! How awesome does that look right there? See how the cheese is nice and gooey? Oh, fantastic. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna set these right off on the side. I got a few more to cook and I got some more bread to toast, so let me just bring these off to the side. There's the Picky Person's hamburger, or Goombah burger. How you doing? All right, so I'm gonna bring that right over there. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this right over and I'm gonna start putting these things together. Talk to you guys in a moment. All right, guys, here we go. So I'm gonna grab what appears to me to be the best bread here I got going. Because obviously I'm gonna be tasting this puppy here in a moment, all right? And I'm gonna grab what I think is gonna be the best, gooeyest one I got, which is right there, okay? So it just came off the grill. It's nice and hot. You can see the steam coming off. You got the mozzarella gooey. You got a nice about medium, maybe a touch beyond medium. Ideally you want about 180, 190 degrees. All right, so that's our burger, Goombah burger, okay? So my recommendation is I don't like to put the aioli on the bread because then it loses its crisp. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the aioli on top of, and I made some homemade, and it's gonna make a mess, guys. I got some beautiful potato chips, salt and pepper cracked potato chips. I'm gonna use just a little sprinkle of arugula, which is gonna give you that kind of nice peppery, crunchy little flair, a little taste of Italy. Man, does that look awesome. And a nice way to serve it is you can certainly serve it like this, coming to the side, just so you got those nice beautiful grill marks. I mean, who is not gonna wanna jump into that? How you doing? That looks great, doesn't it? All right, guys, what do you say we try this, all right? I'll tell you, that aioli, oh man, I told you, I mixed half aioli and I made some homemade tomato sauce last night. Oh my gosh, fantastic. All right, so let's put this thing together. Well, again, she's gonna drip. I got some great chips right there for you. And you've got the ciabatta toasted with salt, pepper, garlic, fresh rubbed. You've got the meat with the egg and the Parmesan. My mouth is watering, guys. I gotta tell you, does that look just absolutely awesome or what? How you doing? I'm waiting for the mobster to walk in here. Oh my God. Tell you what, if you love a burger, you've got, that aioli is just absolutely perfect. And again, if you do it the way I showed you, you don't lose that crisp or that crunch on the bread, and you got that gooey cheese, that mozzarella, just absolutely delicious. Oh, what a great recipe to share with your family, friends. Certainly a great recipe to tell some stories. Start acting like you're a Goombah. How you doing? Guys, thanks so much for sharing one of my favorite burgers, one of my favorite recipes with you. Don't forget to tune into our YouTube channel. Don't forget to grab some olive oil. And don't forget to spend some time with your family, set your own traditions and heritage, and share that from generations to come. Guys, until next week, bon appetit. Talk to you guys next week.
It's the good life.